Hello and welcome to Written Words. I'm Helen, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the anatomy of words. We're going to look at the building blocks of words, what words are made of, and why it's useful to know about those building blocks and how they work. There are two ways to look at how a word is made up. We can look at the sounds that a word is made of, or we can look at the meaning. So let's start by looking at the sounds, which is probably more familiar to most people. If we're looking at the sounds that words are made of, there are two units that words can be broken down into. The smallest unit of all is letters. We all know what letters are. And letters can be clustered together to form syllables, and then syllables are joined together to make words. So the letter is the smallest unit of sound in a word, and when we learn to read, we start by learning the sounds that the letters make. Syllables then are units of sound within a word. The Oxford Dictionary definition is a unit of pronunciation having one vowel sound with or without surrounding consonants. So every syllable in a word has a vowel sound at its core. So who might find syllables and letters useful? First of all, teachers will find them useful for teaching people to read. Syllables are also useful for poets. If you're writing a poem, the number of syllables and the rhythm of the syllables can be very important to the effect that you're creating in a poem. It's also very useful for songwriting because the sounds of the words need to fit into the sounds of the music. And the sounds of words in general are useful to any kind of writer, whether you're writing poetry or songs, or perhaps speeches or novels where you want the writing to sound good when spoken aloud. And the other way that we can break down a word is according to meaning. And the smallest unit in a word is something called a morpheme. The morpheme is the smallest unit in the word that carries meaning. So why is it useful to know about morphemes? They are useful for understanding the meaning of a word. If we encounter a word that is new to us, we can begin to understand what the word means, what its purpose is in the sentence, by looking at the different morphemes in it, which very often we do subconsciously. We don't even realise that we're doing it. Understanding morphemes is also very useful for understanding grammar and the etymology or origin of words and their relationship to other words. So let's take a word and look at it in both lights. Let's look at it in terms of its sound and how it can be broken up into different sounds, and how we can break it up in terms of meaning as well. So let's look at the word unhappily. Let's talk about syllables first. How many syllables are there in the word unhappily? We can work that out by saying it very slowly. Unhappily. There are 4 very definite sounds in that word, unhappily. So there are 4 syllables. But if we break it down into its components that give it meaning, there are 3 components in this word. The main component of the word is happy. That tells us some information. We all know what happy means. Happy describes a feeling. It's a positive feeling. But then when we add the morpheme un, that changes the meaning of happy the opposite way. So unhappy is the opposite of happy. So un has given some extra meaning to this word. And then li tells us that this word is an adverb. if you know what an adverb means, you'll know that it's describing how something is done. It's describing a verb. So it's describing how an action is done. But a native speaker, even if they don't know what an adverb is, they will automatically know how to use a word ending in "ly." They will automatically use it to describe how something is done. So unhappily can be broken down into 4 sounds or syllables, but it can be broken down into 3 morphemes. So how you break the word down depends on what you want to find out. Let's take a look at some more words. Let's look at revisited. How many syllables do we have in revisited? Re-vis-it-ed. Revisited. So 4 syllables. How many morphemes do we have in this word? The core morpheme is visit. And then we've got the prefix re at the beginning. And that adds extra meaning to the word. Whoever is doing the visiting is doing it again. They've done it before. So the re gives us that extra information about this word. And the ed, the ed on the end, tells us that this is the past tense. So revisited has 4 syllables, but 3 morphemes. How about the word walked? Walked has just 1 syllable. It's got quite a lot of letters, but only 1 syllable. If we break it down into morphemes, however, it has 2 of those. We have walk, which is an action, and the ed on the end, which tells us that that action is in the past tense. Disagreeing. Disagreeing. It has 4 syllables. But in terms of morphemes, it has agree in the middle. It has dis, making it the opposite of agree. And it has ing, which tells us it's an ongoing action. How about yellowish? Yellowish. 3 syllables. But 2 morphemes. 1 morpheme is the colour, yellow. And then ish adds a little extra meaning it's not exactly yellow. It's kind of yellow, but not 100% yellow. So all of those words have different numbers of syllables and morphemes. So let's have a look at some that have the same number. Take, for example, kindness. Kindness, 2 syllables. And we also have kind and ness, which are both morphemes. Kind describes something or someone. So it's an adjective on its own, but if we add ness on the end, it turns it into a noun. So it's talking about a thing. It's an abstract thing, an abstract noun, instead of an adjective describing something. The word hat has 1 syllable and 1 morpheme. It's just a name of a thing. There are no adjustments to it, no extra pieces of information added. It's just a hat, and it's just 1 syllable. So I mentioned earlier that there are various uses for this knowledge, for knowing about syllables and letters, and for knowing about morphemes. One way that syllables can come in very handy is for writing poetry, and one form of poetry that depends very heavily on syllables is the haiku. The haiku is a poetic form originally from Japan, but it's become very popular worldwide in recent times because it's quite a fun way to write a poem. Typically, a haiku is a very short poem with just 3 lines. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7, and the third line has 5 syllables. So here's an example of one that I wrote. As it's spring at the moment and all the spring flowers are starting to come out, I thought I'd write about blossom. Blossom unfolding opens the letter of spring. Life leaps from the page. So as you can see, we have 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 syllables in the third. Writing haikus can be quite fun, so why don't you have a go and see if you can write a haiku with 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables. And if you do, feel free to share it in the comments below. I'd be interested to see what you've written. So hopefully that's made it a little clearer what the difference is between syllables and morphemes and why it's useful to know about them. My next video is going to continue with the theme of writing poetry, and it's going to be a mini poetry workshop with an opportunity to write poetry together. So watch this space for more on that one. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and in the meantime, happy reading and happy writing.